Good morning. Welcome to fall, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Monmouth County. My name is Judy Stevens. I have the honor of serving you as the council moderator and, fittingly, as our congregational liaison to Unitarian Universalist FaithAction of New Jersey. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you arrived at this beloved place, you are welcome here. Our mission is to create community, transform ourselves, and transform the world. This morning, we welcome guest speaker Emily Parker from Unitarian Universalist FaithAction New Jersey. I draw your attention to the back of your order of service for announcements and service information for next week. For those on live stream and video viewers, the order of service link is available to you in the YouTube service description box. After the service, coffee and light refreshments are served in the community room. People of all ages are welcome to visit with one another and imbibe with whatever is set out this week. If you are new to us, please visit our website, uucmc.org, where you can sign up to get all the latest news of the congregation by email. We look forward to getting to know you better. Please put your devices on silent as we enter into worship together. Welcome again to this place of love and hope. It's also my privilege to introduce today's guest speaker. Emily Parker, Reverend Emily Parker in the not too distant future, is the communications coordinator for UU FaithAction New Jersey. In that capacity, she crafts communications, manages congregational outreach, supports members as well as congregational liaisons. As you read in the e-blast, Emily grew up in the old stone walls of the first UU Fellowship of Hunterdon County. As a youth, she served on her Religious Education Committee, Sunday Services Committee, and on the Metro District Youth Adult Council. She also worked as a counselor at Murray Grove Summer Camp for 4 seasons, and prior to UU FaithAction New Jersey, Emily served as outreach coordinator for the Diaper Bank of Southern Arizona. She presented her undergraduate research, Beyond the Bridge, a study of Unitarian Universalist emerging adults, at the 2018 UUA General Assembly. Emily studies at Wesley Theological Seminary, pursuing her Master's of Divinity and Unitarian Universalist ordination. What you don't know about Emily, unless you've had the pleasure of working with her, is what a vibrant, knowledgeable, and supportive presence she is in UU FaithAction.
Good morning, and welcome. Welcome to everyone joining us for worship here today and there, online, wherever, whenever you're joining us from. Thank you for being a part of the miracle of our gathering today. Whatever you are carrying with you into worship today, or whatever you forgot to pack, we hope our time together this morning may be a time to set down your burdens and fill your cup. My name is Emily Parker. I come bearing glad tidings from UU FaithAction New Jersey, of which your congregation is a member, and I am so grateful to have been invited to lead worship today with you here at the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Monmouth County. I invite us now to center ourselves as we light our chalice and enter into worship. And our chalice lighting words today are by Denise Tracy. For centuries, people have told stories, celebrated life, and approached the ultimate while gathered around a fire. Today we light this chalice, that the hearth of fire of our hearts may be rekindled, that our stories may be retold, that we might celebrate life anew, and that we might approach what is of ultimate value. Come, let us worship together. And I invite you all to rise in body or in spirit and sing hymn number 126, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing.
Good morning. Our story this morning is called The Journey of the Birds. It's a thought-provoking story from the Unitarian Universalist Association that illustrates the concept of interdependence. It was inspired by an ancient epic poem called The Conference of the Birds by a Parisian Sufi Muslim writer named Attar. Once upon a time, all the birds in the land decided they needed a leader in their community. A leader they thought would make them stronger. So, representatives of all the birds gathered together to discuss finding a leader. "A leader will tell us the right things to do," said the robin. "Our leader must be wise," said the owl. "A leader must believe that we are all important, big and small," said the dove. "I want a leader to be caring, like a friend," said the sparrow. "Yes, the leader must help us get along better," said the jay. And the hawk said, "A leader must make us feel safe." "I know where we can find such a leader," said the hoopoe bird. "It is the sycamore, and it lives far from here." So the birds, of course, were very excited, and they were all willing to go and find this leader. "It might be dangerous," said the sycamore. Now, a few of the birds looked troubled, but they all took a vote, and they voted to go and find the sycamore. The hoopoe took off, and all the birds followed. They flew at night. They flew in sunshine. Days and days passed. Some birds got tired and left the group. Other birds were filled with doubt. How did they know that the sycamore really existed? Only the hoopoe had ever heard of this bird. Some of the doubters dropped out, but others, they kept flying. One valley was filled with fiery mountains. All the birds were afraid. "I'm too small to make it over the mountain," lamented the sparrow. "No, keep flying. We can make it together. We will help you." And they did. The strong flyers helped the weaker flyers. The birds with good vision helped find food for the group. Along the journey, the birds learned how to better respect, share, and care for each other. It seemed that every bird had something special and unique to offer that made the journey easier. Finally, the hoopoe announced, "We're here!" The other birds looked around in anticipation. "Where is the sycamore?" "We don't see it," they cried. "Come, it's over here," said the hoopoe. The birds stood beside the hoopoe and realized they were on the edge of a lake. They looked in, and guess what they saw? They saw themselves. They saw their reflections. And then they understood. The sycamore was not another bird. The sycamore was all of them. And all of them were the sycamore. They remembered that each of them had something good and something strong and something special inside them, and that each bird had gifts to bring to the community. They were all what was needed to keep the community strong. They knew now that together they could do anything. This journey of the birds, it became increasingly difficult, and the birds realized that they needed each other to support one another to survive. They understood that their individual strengths and abilities were essential to the collective well-being of the flock. Some of the birds excelled at finding food, while others were adept in leading the way or providing shelter. And through this collaboration and interdependence, they were able to overcome their challenges and continue their journey. And so this story is a powerful reminder of how we are all interconnected, all living things. It underscores the idea that we're all reliant on one another, and that by bracing our interdependence, we can navigate the challenges of life together. We are always stronger together. May it be so. And now let's bless our children and youth with Go Now in Peace.
Every week in this congregation, we are provided with an opportunity to practice generosity. This is your invitation to contribute to the well-being of our congregation and to our area neighbors through the good works of local organizations which receive half of the monies collected each month. Our Share the Plate recipient for September is The Source at Red Bank Regional High School, funded by the Source Foundation, its 501c3, the New Jersey Department of Children and Families, and the Red Bank Regional High School. In addition to licensed clinicians who are employees at RBRHS, The Source brings in interns from local colleges and universities. Currently, there are 4 interns, 3 of whom are bilingual. Please check out The Source, rbrhs.org, to learn of its many amazing programs. For those of you present here in the meeting house, the plates will be passed by the ushers. You may also join this time of generosity via text, send your offering by mail, or charge your contribution online with a memo designating an amount to The Source at Red Bank Regional High School. Please give generously.
Beneath the great Big Dipper, we are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together. together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings we live beside. Loving spirits will live together, we're all swimming to the other side. I am alone, and I am searching, hungering for answers in my own time. I am balanced on the brink of wisdom. I'm impatient to receive a sign. I move forward with my senses open. Imperfection will be my crime. In humility I will listen. We're all swimming to the other side. On this journey through thoughts and feelings, binding intuition, my head, my heart, I am gathering the tools together. I'm preparing to do my part. All of those who have come before me, band together and be my guide. Loving lessons I will follow. We're all swimming to the other side. When we get there, we'll discover all of the gifts we've been given to share, have been with us since life's beginning, and we never noticed they were there. We can balance on the brink of wisdom, never recognizing that we've arrived. Loving spirits will live together. We're all swimming to the other side. Loving spirits will live together. We're all swimming to the other side.
UUCMC, thank you for having me today. And thank you for being a part of UU FaithAction New Jersey. A special thank you to Judy Stevens, who I've now lost, but to Judy, your UU FaithAction congregational liaison. Also to Rich Held, who I have worked with in our Immigration Justice Task Force, and who I completely failed to recognize this morning, meeting him in person. To Nicole Schultz, who I worked with on our Reproductive Justice Task Force when I was new at UU FaithAction, and to Ann Houle, if you're watching, who's done great work with our Criminal Justice Reform Task Force and other committees, just from my time at UU FaithAction, which hasn't been that long. And thank you to all of you, to everyone who engages in building our shared vision through volunteering, your donations, and your response to our action alerts, whether making good trouble through your voices, your emails, phone calls, or your presence. And if you are not familiar with our work, this is my chance to tell you that UU FaithAction NJ, formerly UULMNJ, the UU Legislative Ministry of New Jersey, is where we educate, ourselves and others on social and political issues, mobilize individuals and congregations to act for justice, and advocate for equitable and sustainable public policy. Simply put, we are a UU voice for justice, equity, and compassion in New Jersey, and you all are a part of it. Our efforts are focused into strategic action by 5 task forces. Our current task forces are environmental justice, reproductive justice, immigration justice, a lot of justice, we're not done yet, criminal justice reform, and reparations. Our task force members do the vital work of dedicating sustained attention to these issues and building relationships with frontline communities as well as other key coalition partners across the state. My role at UU FaithAction is communications, which I see as community gathering and storytelling. And so I thought it would be fitting for me to bring you all a few stories today. I love stories. And I don't just love a good story. I think storytelling is powerful and essential to the human experience. Family and community histories, our legends, our personal stories, national narratives. Through storytelling, we form our identities and shape reality. We tell stories to make sense of absurdity. And in sharing a story, we share something of the meaning we think we found. If a story speaks to you, you retell it, perhaps adding a bit of yourself. And in the retelling and in the hearing, we speak something of the meaning we found in that story into existence. I also love the way stories speak to each other, the way stories overlap, harmonize, or crash into each other. And so today, I'm going to share 3 stories. I cannot resist adding some of my own commentary, but more than listening to me, I hope you listen for where the stories jive, jazz, and collide, and what meaning you might find there. My first story today is about a great storyteller, world-renowned. He was infamous in his day for his social, political, and religious criticism. Our storyteller and his community lived under the impression of imperial rule. He was a non-citizen in his own indigenous homeland. He didn't have much money, nor advanced education, but he did have a gift for impacting the people he met. And so he walked, city to city, town to town, meeting and teaching and breaking bread with whomever accepted his company. His students called him rabbi, Hebrew for teacher or master. His persecutors called him king. Colloquially, we called him Jesus of Nazareth. And it is said that he once managed to feed 5,000 men with just 5 loaves of bread. Hear now that story. The apostles gathered around Jesus and told him everything, all they had done and all they had taught. He said to them, "Come away and rest. Come away to a deserted place just by yourselves." There had been so much coming and going. There had not even been a break for them to eat. And so they went away in a boat by themselves, privately, to a deserted place. Now the crowd saw them going, and many of them recognized them. And people went ahead on foot, ran ahead from all the cities, and gathered there before them. When Jesus came out and saw the multitude, he had compassion for them. And he taught many things. And the day grew late. His disciples came to him and said, "The hour grows late, and we are in a deserted place. Send these people away to the surrounding countryside and villages so that they may buy themselves something to eat." Well, Jesus said to them, "You feed them." they answered. Shall we buy 200 denarii, over half a year's wages worth of bread, and feed all these people? Jesus said, go see how many loaves of bread we have. They went and came back. 5, and 2 fish. Well, Jesus told his disciples to organize all the people into groups sitting on the green grass. They ordered themselves in ranks. Groups of 50 and 100 seated themselves. And Jesus took the 5 loaves, lifted them to heaven, blessed them, broke them, and divided them among all the companies, and did likewise with the fish. And all were fed and were filled. When the disciples went and gathered the leftovers, the broken pieces of bread and fish, they filled 12 baskets with the leftovers. And it is estimated that 5,000 men were fed that day. So ends our story. When presented with an act of miracle or magic, perhaps your impulse is to look closely, I know mine is, and ask where? Where did the magic happen? Where was the sleight of hand? Was it in God's hand or in the hands of our tired, compassionate teacher? Was it in the hands of the apostles or the hands of the gathered, give or take, 5,000? Was it in the hands of oral storytellers or the scribes, the gospel writers? What strikes me is the feeding of the 5,000 is told in some variation by all 4 gospel writers. No matter where we place the sleight of hand, it is a story and a miracle that speaks to a deep collective hunger. Personally, when I hear the story of the feeding of the 5,000, it stirs for me a story familiar to my formative religious education. You see, I was raised UU, and while our religious education cultivates in young minds a passing familiarity with Jesus, at least in my experience, the stone soup story is in my blood. Personally, so stone soup is a European folktale with many variations. Today, I hope you will indulge me as I join the time-honored UU tradition of stone soup storytelling. Someone told me the other day about a woman who wandered from place to place. She didn't have any money, nor any formal education. But she did have a cleverness that meant she never went hungry. Entering into this particular village, she noticed that the people were quite shut in. I mean, doors were shut. There were no people, not even chickens, to be found in the village square. She knew people lived there. She had been to this town before, knew it to be a joyous place with many festivals, much sharing, but she also had heard on the road that it had been a tough year for them. There had been plague, and the crops had failed, and nobody felt that they really had enough for themselves, let alone for some stranger wandering into town. However, she was undeterred, trusting in her own skills. She looked around and saw, okay, a dusty cauldron, didn't seem like there'd been much happening here for a while, and some rocks. She chose for herself a particularly interesting rock and announced to the town, or to nobody in particular, "Oh, what a delicious-looking stone." Placed it in the pot. "Oh, yes, this is going to make some great stone soup. I'm so excited." And she set about to making a fire and gathering some water. As the fire began to boil, still nobody was coming out to greet her, but she noticed a few faces peering out from doorways. Oh, that smells delicious. Oh, that smells delicious. She tried a bit of the broth. Oh, that is truly a superb stone, just like my grandmother used to make. Finally, a few villagers started to emerge from their houses at, a safe Unitarian distance, I would say. Skeptical, but curious. Does it really taste that good? One asks. Oh, it's quite delightful. Does it really have that much flavor, being just a stone? Well, you're right. It is lacking a bit of flavor. Just a pinch of salt would really bring out the stone in this. Well, that villager, although still quite dubious, was also curious and did happen to have some salt at home. They went to go fetch it and bring it back. She continued to stir the pot, taste it. Emboldened by the first, more were gathering, still at a distance. I do love a stone broth, but you know what really mixes well with stone? Bone. A nice bone-stone broth. They really complement each other. The bone really brings out the hearty stone flavor. Well, one woman had just slaughtered her very last chicken, but she had the carcass there and fresh. She offered to bring it out, curious to see what might happen. The woman continued to stir the pot, tasting every so often. This is perfect. Well, not quite. It would be perfect if just I had some onions. Well, it just so happened a man had some extra onions in his root cellar, and they were about to go bad, so he thought he may as well bring them out. No, but a bit of sweetness. If only I had carrot. Otherwise, it's perfect. Someone brought out their carrots. And so it was likewise. Every type of bean, parsnips, people's herbs were all added to the stone soup. The curious villagers, and eventually the soup did start actually smelling like something. People were attracted out of their homes, getting closer, wanting to see what exactly the lady was doing. What is a stone soup, and how was she quite so excited about it? Maybe just some black pepper, just a dash of black pepper. Someone had that. I wonder if zucchini. Everybody had zucchini. Finally, all that was left to bring out were the bowls and to serve the soup. And because there were people, soon there was music. And because there was music, soon there was laughter and dancing. And the soup was delicious, by the way. And all were fed, and all were filled. So ends our story. Now that I wear the hat of community organizer, among many other hats shared with many other people at UU FaithAction, I see the stone soup story through that lens. Community organizers are stone soup chefs, in that it's not about what you could do on your own. Actually, on your own, you'd just be a rock sitting in water. But it's about your ability to bring people together, to bring out their gifts, and orient and organize efforts towards a common purpose. For my final story, I think I'll tell you about the time I became an activist. I was living in Tucson, Arizona, working as an outreach volunteer for No More Deaths. No More Deaths is a rad organization whose mission is to end death and suffering in the US-Mexico borderlands through civil initiative. Their most emblematic activity is leaving out jugs of water in the desert, in the remote corridors to which migration has been pushed. The Desert Aid volunteers are pretty punk rock, backpacking into deserted, harsh environments, offering defiant mutual aid. That is not what I was doing. I was setting up tables outside of the local library or the park with literature, canvassing door to door, toting clipboards and yard signs. I worked on that particular outreach campaign and lived in the volunteer house for 6 weeks, which is not enough time to become an expert in anything, but is enough time to become the expert relative to the 1- and 2-week volunteers and to become the unofficial house mother. That's not when I'd say I became an activist. I became an activist when Reverend Bethany, minister of the UU Church of Tucson, introduced me as an activist, casually, to someone during coffee hour. It was not a title I thought I'd earned. Aren't activists supposed to be more well-versed in an issue? I thought, more dedicated, know more people, be more extroverted, perhaps, maybe wear combat boots and shirts they screen printed by hand. But Reverend Bethany saw something in me that I could not see in myself. And besides, activism is not a degree you earn, it's an action. It's a movement you move with, engaged action, living covenant. And I was then, and I am now, becoming an activist. And this story is not over, because this is also the story of me introducing you to your community as an activist, a healer, a miracle worker, even if maybe you feel like you haven't earned that title. This story is not over. This is the story of me telling you, or maybe the storyteller is Reverend Bethany, or a poor Jewish itinerant teacher, or a trickster vagrant soup maker. In any case, this is the story of me telling you, or them telling us, that you already hold the ingredients you need to work a miracle. This story is not over. This is the story of the good news that we're all tired, and we're all hungry, and none of us has what it takes. But, good news. We came together today, and we are going to work a miracle. May it be so. I now welcome you into a time of meditation, as I understand is a ritual you practice here. So I invite you to get comfortable or grounded, whatever that means in your body for you. For me, it's opening my hands some days, folding my hands others, orienting up, orienting down. On your next breath in, be leisurely about it. And on your next breath out, really allow air to exit most of your lungs. Really make space for that next breath. And as we enter into this time of silent meditation, I invite you to carry with you the question, what is the ingredient that you already hold that we could use to work a miracle? Thank you. And now, to get, our pulses going again, I invite you to join us in our closing hymn, number 1017, Building a New Way. Thank you. Friends, before I send you forth, I am going to use this pulpit one more time for a little bit of self-promotion. If you enjoyed my storytelling today, you can receive my storytelling right to your inbox in the form of our monthly newsletter and our featured events email and our action alerts, which we send out when there is an opportunity to jump in and take action on something. If you want to learn more about the work that I do and the work that we do at UU FaithAction, of course, Judy is here every week, and you can talk to her. I would love to talk to you after the service today. I'll be at coffee hour. I will have my laptop there and a clipboard ready to take your emails if you would like. And thank you. Thank you for having me today. Thank you for your welcome and generosity. Friends, by way of sending forth, go with love, go with hope, go with the trust that together we can do the impossible. May it be so.